It's the third day of spring and it's 25 degrees outside. Are you kidding me? This is ridiculous. I want the spring weather to come because obviously spring goes into summer. Summer goes into fall. Fall means I go home again and the circle of life is complete. So, things have changed a little bit. I finally got a hold of AJ last night. Actually, he finally got a hold of me shortly after I shot last night's video. And basically today was set in stone, and I thought it was going to be problematic and trying to work everything out, but luckily it was not. Actually, it's perfect to the point that we really don't even have any time to kill between movies today, so that's awesome. Because that makes me very happy because I don't have to do anything to kill time. The only thing I really need to do at this point, I need to go to Old Navy and American Eagle and Shopkick, but other than that, nothing else to do. So we've got 3 movies today. We're going to watch Olympus Has Fallen in about 2 hours and 20 minutes. And then we're going to go right into The Croods and go right from The Croods into Admission. And we'll get out around 7:30. And of course that means I'll get back here a little bit after 7:40, 7:45-ish, which gets me right in time for SmackDown. So yes, Saturday you will get a SmackDown recap to go along with Raw and Impact. And I'll probably be doing that from now on, just as long as I'm able to watch SmackDown. Now, here's another thing. Athens is really, really helpful this year, so far. Because, as of today, they just got Stoker. And next week, Athena Grand is getting Spring Breakers. So we are going to be going to Athens before April. We're actually going to be going next weekend to watch both of those movies. And of course, we've got G.I. Joe on Thursday night before B-Dubs. And Friday, we've got The Host and the Tyler Perry Temptation Confessions of a Marriage Counselor film that looked good for about 5 seconds. And then pretty much it became every other Tyler Perry movie. So that's not going to be something to look forward to. But The Host looks awesome, so there we go. And that means that the week after, we've got WrestleMania at Will's house, so that's going to be awesome too. Cannot wait for that. Looking forward to the WrestleMania roundtable discussion with whomever wants to be involved. So we'll knock that out as well. Still trying to get a hold of my travel agent at this moment because I have yet to add the extra day to my schedule for December because I have not been able to talk to her yet. So hopefully I'll get to talk to Stephanie soon and we'll be able to add that extra day, which makes it till the 15th and not the 14th. I've already booked Wilderness Lodge Villas for the 14th to the 15th, leaving on the 15th, and we're going to leave probably late on the 15th, so we can get a full day out that last day, and that's going to be awesome. So Will and I are going to have a blast this year, and you know, September is going to be amazing too, so all this stuff's still to come. Now, here's another thing. We are talking TNA Impact tonight. Now, I've noticed, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist to notice this, the wrestling videos are getting a lot more hits. So, not as many Disney fanatics on the channel as I thought there would be. Hopefully that'll change soon enough because I'll start promoting the site a little bit more. So, if you see this, and you're a Disney fan, or if you're a wrestling fan, or if you're a movie fan, or if you're just a fan of just random strangeness and randomness, then just tell your friends about this, honestly. I'm trying to get as many people as I can to watch this. Oh, and by the way, another thing too, I'm going to actually go to the site real quick so I can give you an accurate number. But apparently the views were not calculated correctly in January. So, I have a lot more now, and here's something really cool that I just got today. Apparently, according to the YouTube channel, I am now at 3,092 views. That's so cool. I still only have 13 subscribers, but I've got over 3,000 views. So thank you guys once again for watching all the videos, the wrestling videos, the Disney videos, the movie videos, the random critiques on things like The Celebrity Apprentice and all the award shows. And just when I'm just sitting around talking about absolutely nothing, like soda or just why College Town shut down during break. Thank you guys once again. So hopefully get some more subscribers soon, and I'd like to be at 20 by the time I go home this year. So we've got to get at least 7 more subscribers before September 19th. So that's what I'm hoping for, that's what I'm shooting for. And I'd like to have 5,000 views before 2013 is over. So by December 31st, 2013, I'd like to be at 5,000 views. So these are one of the goals I've set for myself. So hopefully I can achieve these goals. Now, here's another thing. We are going to talk Impact now. That's what you guys are here for. It's Thursday, TNA Impact, of course. It was taped last Thursday after the live TNA Impact, again at the Sears Center in Chicago, Illinois. And we start off the show with Bully Ray backstage. Tonight he's going to tell us how he pulled off the biggest hoax in the history of professional wrestling. He says we will all feel like fools for buying into all of it. This plan took 9 months to come to fruition, and Plan A was to win Bound for Glory. You know, the Bound for Glory series? But when it didn't work, he had to go to Plan B. You know, the team on Celebrity Apprentice. Where he destroyed personal relationships and the Hogan family in general. He says the Hogan family has never been as low as they are now. I mean, the divorce and Nick Hogan practically killing someone negligently with his driving skills and Brooks' wonderful music career. I'm not sure about that statement, but I can understand. Oh. As the old-timey music tells me that I have just got a text message, and it basically tells me that my stepmom will check on my cell phone bill today. So I thought you'd want to know that, because you want to know why you hear detective music playing in the background. Anyway, so now the film noir expert of the film noir of the show is now over. I'm going to continue with what I was talking about. Now, basically, he doesn't feel bad for Sting, not at all. He tells us to watch as he reveals how the most hated man in professional wrestling became World Heavyweight Champion. And like I said, it was a great opening to the show. I love Bully Ray. I've been a big Bubba Ray Dudley fan since day one, back to the Stuttering days, to ECW, where they were the most dominant tag team of our generation, and to the WWF, to WCW tag team champions, and also to Japan and WWE, and now in TNA. So I've been a big Bubba Ray Dudley, Bully Ray fan for a long time. And I'm really happy that he's finally getting to run with the ball. Now this is the first of the things I'd like to see happen this year. The second one, a little harder, but it still can be done. And that is giving Christopher Daniels the World Heavyweight Championship. And everyone knows that's what I want to see. But they're on a different path with Daniels now, but we'll get to that later. So, once again, we are live to tape from the Sears Center in Chicago. All of a sudden, Hulk Hogan makes his way to the ring on one crutch, and basically he thanks the fans for all of their warm ovation and the nice pop he just got from the crowd. Hogan says he's been around for a long time, but he's never had the wool pulled over his eyes just like he has this time. Hogan talks about everybody being fooled, and last week Aces and Eights ran over everyone, and that he's now currently dealing with a monster. He calls what is happening a war of survival. Hogan says that the men he loves are the ones who came out last week, and took it to Aces and Eights, obviously. He wants nothing but respect for Samoa Joe, Magnus, Kurt Angle, and Jeff Hardy. So basically Taz mocks Hogan on commentary, celebrating guys that just got beaten up. Hogan brings out the former TNA World Heavyweight Champion Jeff Hardy last. Makes sense, right? So Hogan says as he talks to these men, he's talking to all the warriors in the back. Also, other people that ran out last week and were involved in the end of the show beating of Aces and Eights. He tells them all to put Aces and Eights out, and he needs the World Heavyweight Championship back in TNA. Now, Jeff Hardy is asked quickly if he's still up for the rematch with Bully Ray. Hardy says, although he is beat up, him and the Creatures need the belt back. Hardy proposes a four-way dance between everyone in the ring where the winner gets the title shot. Hogan loves the idea, and the best man in the ring will become #1 contender. The match is officially made for tonight. Now, here's the thing. At the Impact Zone, Jeff Hardy is a god. Straight up. And I will back this up immediately. Jeff Hardy is a god at the Impact Zone. Everywhere else, not as much as he could be. He didn't get quite the reaction that TNA probably wanted him to get, and he actually wasn't the most over of the four men in the ring. That would be Samoa Joe. Then again, all the Chicago Ridge shows, that Ring of Honor did basically got Joe severely over in Chicago. So obviously Joe is the most over man in the building, at least one of them. So Jeff Hardy is not as liked in Chicago as TNA would like him to be, but we'll get to that later on. So the camera does cut back to Bully Ray. He goes over Plan A. Plan A was to win the Bound for Glory series, and in turn win the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, which is why Sting got jumped that night. He dealt every hand and the questions began to pop up. He says it was suggested to Bobby Roode that James Storm was behind the attack, and that created a diversion to get all the heat off anybody else, and basically they made sure all signs pointed to James Storm, while Bully Ray was racking up points in the Bound for Glory series. He let the whole world know it wasn't Storm when he lost at No Surrender, and then convinced Roode to prevent Storm from winning. But Hogan got smarter and he locked aces and eights out the night of the tournament finals, and Hardy was a little bit tougher than he thought he would be when he beat him to win the Bound for Glory series. But then he came up with a new plan. Plan B. Plan Brooke. So, up next we see the match we were supposed to have last week that was interrupted with Aces and Eights interference between Chavo Guerrero and Hernandez against the TNA World Tag Team Champions Austin Aries and Bobby Roode, now to be currently known as the Dirty Heels. So, basically, we come back from break, as usual, and heels are in full control. Bobby sends Chavo face first into the steps, and Austin flies off the top with an elbow to Chavo's head. He gets that elbow suicida. It looks awesome, as usual. So Aries takes the action back into the ring and covers for a 2 count only. He locks in the front chancery. Not going for the last chancery yet, he locks in the front chancery. Chavo fights free, takes a knee to the midsection. Bobby Roode tags in, hits a belly back suplex for a 2 count. Bobby goes for the side headlock. Chavo gets up to his feet. Roode cuts him off. Chavo reverses the whip and then connects with a tornado DDT and makes the hot tag to Hernandez. Roode tags in Austin Aries, and Hernandez takes on both men, launching Aries with a gorilla press. Looked amazing, by the way. He just probably about 12 feet up in the air. So Hernandez goes to the outside, and he hits Air Mexico. He basically runs all the way from the top of the ramp, charges in, leaps over the top rope, and clotheslines both of the World Tag Team Champions to the ground. Nice Air Mexico right there. So Hernandez is soaking in the cheers, which are not as there as they could be. Grabs Aries, setting up the border toss, but Roode cuts him off this time. Hernandez takes out Roode with a pounce and eats the back elbow from Austin Aries. Aries goes to fly up top. Hernandez catches him. Aries and Hernandez fall to the floor with head scissor. Basically, they run each other to the floor. Aries goes for the back suplex. Wow, long day. So Aries goes for the brainbuster, and he's going to finish him off. Chavo counters with 3 amigos. Kaz and Daniels hit the ring, and Daniels shoves Chavo off the top. Aries rolls up Chavo, hooks the tights, 1, 2, 3. So, great match there. Aries and Roode, great tag team, and great tag team champions. I am really looking forward to this feud that they're setting up after this match. And after this match, Bad Influence just jumped the tag team champions and they posed with the belt. So we are going to see Bad Influence against the Dirty Heels for the TNA World Tag Team Championships. And you know, those 4 guys in the ring, I don't have one single iota of a problem with that because it's going to be amazing. I'll tell you right now, we're going to see Bad Influence with the Tag Team Championships probably before the year's over, unless they win them at Bound for Glory. Might win them at Slammiversary, that could happen, but I still think they're going to have gold again in the very near future. So, after this, we have a look at the X Division, and it's going to hype these new changes. Okay, here are the new rules for the X Division. Number 1, all matches are 3-way dances. But they're not elimination matches, so fail. I think if they're going to be 3-way dances, they should be elimination matches, not first pinfall. I hate first pinfall. If you're going to have 3 men in the ring, have them all get eliminated, have 2 guys get eliminated. Come on, it makes perfect sense. 2, there's a 235-pound weight limit. Okay? This is how we eliminate people like Abyss winning the X Division Championship, and even Samoa Joe winning the X Division Championship. Oh yeah, here's another thing too. In the 3-way matches, the person that gets pinned is out of the title picture. So literally in one match, you can lose your entire chance at the X Division Championship for a long time, if not forever. So who knows what's going to happen with that. Interesting rules. So we see Kenny King, and he's putting over the rules, and he says if that's the rules, then so be it. Now he's going to shine even more. And we have a blatant product placement for 5-Hour Energy, and don't understand why that was that. And Kenny King, once again, proving to be really good in everything he does. And that's going to be our next matchup for the night. It's going to be a 3-way dance between Kenny King defending the X Division Championship against Shima Zion and the returning player from the Himalayas, Sanjay Dutt. So we get a lot of 3-way spots to start off. And Sanjay kind of tweaks the head scissor. It looks interesting, really. So Sanjay comes back this time with a Hurricane Rana, taking both men down on the ground. That will look awesome. So Sanjay sets up for the dive. Both men pull him out to the floor. King leaps from the ring apron, crashing down with basically a twisting senton. Kind of like a Sky Twister press, but he was way too close to the barricade, so he couldn't get the full rotation. But it still looked pretty good, even though it looked really, really dangerous. So King took Dion outside, and he covers for 2. And this time, King hits the leaping back elbow, pounding away and cutting off Dutt before he can re-enter the ring. King connects with a suplex, firing away with punches. Basically that rolling suplex into the mounted punches that he's been doing a lot lately. So Sanjay gets on the apron. King drops him split-legged drop down, throat first across the top rope. So King hits a spinning wheel kick, and Sanjay flies in with a springboard drop kick to knock out Kenny King. So Sanjay sees his opening, heads up top, but King shoves him off the top onto the ramp. So Shima fires away with shots on King, and he gets caught with a cartwheel kick. Basically, he was way too close on this, and it looked pretty brutal, to be totally honest. But Shima came out from the outside, hit his swing DDT with the middle rope springboard. Well, it looks awesome, as it always does. So Sanjay flies in with the head scissors, and Dutt takes out both men with the moonsault, a tremendous moonsault from the middle rope to the outside. He basically slipped, but he caught himself, and he still ended up executing the move to perfection, so it looked awesome. Even though there was a little bit of a botch there, but it was alright. So Sanjay takes Shima outside and planted him with a slam. He's going up top, and Shima chases after him. Dutt elbows him back down on the canvas. He lands on, he hits the moonsault double stomp, and Kenny King flies in, hits the blockbuster off the springboard onto Sanjay. King makes the cover and gets the 3. So, okay, if this is going to be the new style of the X Division, God, slow it down a bit. There's too much chance of botches on matches that are rushed way too quickly. I understand the X Division doesn't have to tell a story, but when it comes down to it, it doesn't have to be 4,000 miles an hour either. I understand it's entertaining, I understand it's well done if it's executed properly, but when it comes down to it, a little too fast, and that's why the move got botched as much as they did. But overall, an enjoyable match, and I'm interested to see exactly how this new X Division is going to work. So, backstage we see Brooke arriving, and she's approached by the mysterious cameraman who is never shown, and she says she's here to do business with the Knockouts division and not worry about Bully Ray or her dad. So, we get to Bully Ray yet again. He discusses Plan B. He gives credit to Jeff Hardy for winning the championship, and he says Hulk Hogan made a complete fool out of himself. He demanded full access in exchange for no one hurting Joseph Park. I was there on the show, actually. Devon was under the mask that night. And he was the one who basically attacked from behind. So Bully claims no one turned their back on their brother, on his brother in general. So no one turns their back on Devon. He said he needed to save TNA to further trick Hogan. He looked into Hogan's eyes and knew he had him fooled. They shook hands. Hogan signed over Impact to him. He says he lost at Bound for Glory at the hands of his own brother, and that he made his anger cost his team on purpose. He knew how Hulk would react when he went after Brooke. The more Hulk said no, the more Brooke said yes. I was in. Oh yes, I was. Nothing you could have done to stop it. God, I love heel Bully Ray. So Sting's outside Hogan's office, and when he is let in, he says, you know, it's fine that Hogan made a 4-way for the title shot, but he wants the shot at Bully Ray tonight. Hogan suggests then that Sting sits up in the rafters for a few years, like he always does when things get heavy. the Crow Sting, back WCW. He says all Sting does is cause problems. Sting claims last night was about apologies, but tonight is about revenge. Hogan tells Sting he isn't fooling anyone. And Hogan gets the last word, as he always does, when Sting basically says, I want Bully Ray. And Hogan basically says, everybody does. You're not the only one, so. So we get a recap of the recent events between Taryn Terrell and Gail Kim, and I'm sure we know where this is headed because I've been calling it for weeks. Taryn says she's been pushed to her breaking point and she is okay losing her job over this issue. So she comes to the ring, and of course she's on probation for the acts of spearing Gail Kim and pretty much costing her the Knockouts Championship against Velvet Sky. Now, she says her job is to control the chaos, not create it. When Gail put her hands on Terrell, she had to do what she did. She had to stand up for herself, and she will accept the consequences. So Gail comes out, and Kim tells her not to mess with her, and that Gail Kim is the greatest female wrestler of all time. Excuse me. Gail says there would be no Taryn Terrell without her, and she's going to call out Brooke Hogan to fire her right here and now. Gail Kim further tells Brooke to come out to the ring, and she comes out to the ramp with her microphone. Okay, so this is exactly where we're going with this. Brooke says this was a tough decision to make, and she loves her, and she has to be fair, though. Brooke officially fires Taryn Terrell as a referee. Good. Now Hernandez won't get so agitated when she blows calls during explosion matches. I saw it. I know it exists. So Brooke says to Gail, you seem pretty happy about this. And Gail's like, yeah, pretty much. And she's like, oh, I got some more news for you. Not only has she been fired, we have hired a new knockout. Gasp! Taryn Terrell! So now she can get physical with anyone whenever she wants. So when this is said, she gets speared and she gets chased to the back. So we are going to get Gail Kim and Taryn Terrell. It might be Impact next week. It might be Impact a couple weeks down the road. Or they might wait till Slammiversary. But I wouldn't use this at Slammiversary unless you want to build this to Slammiversary. And we still only have a couple of months till it happens. So, Bully enters through the crowd and comes onto the ramp during this. So Brooke turns around, stunned to see him. Bully stares her down, shows him the wedding band, and says, till death do us part. So, skeezy Bully Ray. I like that too. So we see another commercial for Slammiversary. Going to be June 2nd in Boston. So that's going to be awesome. I cannot wait for that. So Bully Ray yet again is talking about the rise of Bully Ray. He says his army has great soldiers. Doc and Knox are the muscle. Devin, Garrett, and West tried to help, but they were rushed off. Bully says Hogan made Briscoe beg. When Mr. Anderson was attacked, Hogan didn't check on him, so he joined the group. Taz joined the group to answer the call of a higher power. D'Lo has been on the inside the whole time, and that he has had access to all of TNA's secrets. Bully said he wanted to embarrass everyone in TNA, so he started with Kurt Angle. Garrett purposely lost to Wes Briscoe just to get him through the door. And once they had everything they needed from Kurt Angle, they trapped him in the cage with Briscoe and Bischoff. And once Bully's title match was set up, he wanted every member to be revealed, except for one. Himself. They never saw it coming. So we cut to Kurt Angle. He's going to say that the Aces in 8, this match, the 4-way tonight, will be the most important match he's had in a year and a half. He wants to be the man to personally take down Aces and 8s, and that starts with winning the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. And it really makes the importance of this main event shine through. That these 4 guys want that title shot. They all want to be the man to unseat Bully Ray, the evil Aces and 8s president. So, I think it works really well. So up next, we get a match that was set up on last week's, or should I say a couple hours ago's, TNA Impact tapings between the Blueprint Matt Morgan and Joseph Park. So, excuse me. Now, Morgan shoves Park to the canvas and just taunts him. Park misses with a punch. Morgan intimidates Park in the corner and then just mocks him. So Morgan shoves Park, but this time Park shoves him back. So Morgan drops him with a punch to the gut and then boots away in the head. So Morgan clubs him to the back and poses while Park gets up in the corner. Morgan nails the back elbow, which he telegraphs, mind you, literally telegraphs, like he says back elbow. So he's calling his own spots in the ring. It's glorious. So he whips Park in the corner, and Morgan drops him with a clothesline in the back of the head. Park gets up to his feet again, but this time he manages to avoid the charge, and he landing a few punches, but gets nailed with a discus clothesline coming off the ropes. Morgan with the headbutt, and then he stretches Park out with the ropes. So Park pulls himself up yet again, avoids the carbon footprint, and Morgan gets crotched on the top rope. So of course he shakes him off, and Park landing a couple punches, hits a weak clothesline off the ropes, and Park ducks the attack from Morgan, knocks him off his feet with a shoulder block. Park goes to the second rope for the closing argument. This time, Morgan out of the way, gets right up, carbon footprint, 1, 2, 3. So, a little bit longer than it should have been. And I don't know if Joseph Park is losing steam, but he was in Chicago, his storyline hometown, and he did not get the reaction TNA would have liked. So, I don't know if they're going to sour on Park and they're going to downplay his push, but we'll find out soon enough. So, of course, last week we saw AJ Styles return, and he laid waste to James Storm. And we want to know why, so we're going to find out next. So, of course, we come back from break and we see Jeff Hardy talking again about how he needs to win the title back for himself and, of course, the creatures of the night. So, over at the Frankenstein place, we will meet Jeff Hardy. Now, Mike Tenay's in the ring, and he's going to bring out AJ Styles to answer all the questions that we all have for him. AJ looks disheveled, to say the least. He looks like a homeless vagrant. He's got a 500 o'clock shadow. He's got a ginormous tool beard, and he also has a black leather jacket on. He looks like he just came off the streets. Literally, AJ is living on the streets. That's what I see. He gets right up in Mike Tenay's face. Tenay says, "I've known you for 10 years. I've called all your matches. We've always been great friends. But I want to know, just like everybody else does in this building and all around the world, want to know exactly what's your deal with the recent actions. There's rumors about drug and alcohol abuse, and I want to get to the bottom of this. What's going on, AJ?" So Taz interrupts and says, "I'm going to conduct this interview instead." He has a vest in his hands, and he offers AJ a spot in Aces and Eights. But it's a prospect spot, and he's going to have to make beer runs and pretty much pay his dues. And of course, that's not going to get over well because he's AJ Styles. So he doesn't say a word. And of course, James Storm comes out. He gets in the ring. AJ won't turn to face him. So Storm says the old AJ was the type of guy that would say what he thought to someone's face. Storm tells him he could be the new AJ Styles, but he's still the old cowboy James Storm. Storm tells AJ to think about sucker punching him again, but when he thinks about it, he'll kick him right in the teeth. AJ then leaves the ring without a word. Storm says everyone wants to know why and is upset with the lack of answers. So we get our final segment when we come back from commercial about the rise of Bully Ray to the World Heavyweight Championship. He talks about how Hardy was a strong champion and even won Wrestler of the Year. He says Hogan didn't even trust him when he made the save, or when Hogan caught him with his daughter. Now Bully claims that all Hogan did was drive his daughter deeper into his arms, using Sting to lure Hogan in. And during the wedding, he didn't want to end the plan yet, so he had Taz make the impact. He says Devon hit him with a cement pillar, and he took some good shots for the team. But then it was Devon's turn to take the beating. Now there was an injury that sidelined him, put him thing off for quite a while. But he uses an opportunity to manipulate things even further. He says Hogan fell into his trap and made him the #1 contender, playing to Hogan's biggest weakness, his ego. Sting got beat down because Bully had to take care of his family. For 9 months, everyone got swindled. And Bully Ray pulled off the biggest con in the history of professional wrestling. He is the leader and the president of Aces and Eights. And he is the current TNA World Heavyweight Champion. Okay. Now for all that's been said in this 9 months period, all the IWC talking about it, everyone talking about how TNA dropped the ball on this. No. When you really think about it, they didn't. Because Bully Ray explained everything to a T. It all makes sense why this was done the way it was. And it all seemed like it was planned all along, even though it was probably done on the fly booking. But when it comes down to it, it all makes sense. Why Garrett's involved, why Wes is involved, why D'Lo is involved. Don't forget, the night Al Snow went missing, who knows if that's ever going to be revealed either, D'Lo took the spot as the final judge for Gut Check, and D'Lo's the reason why Wes Briscoe got into the company. Think about it, folks. The writing was on the wall the whole time, so needless to say, we should have paid more attention, and we would have known this was going to be the final answer. The final reveal was going to reveal Bully Ray as the president of Aces and Eights. We talked about everyone under the sun. We talked about Jeff Jarrett. We talked about the new Abyss, talked about all these people being behind Aces and Eights, and no, the whole time it was Bully Ray. Now, I'm not sure if TNA knew that the whole time, and I'm quite think that they didn't, but when it comes down to it, it works, and Bully Ray went and explained every single stance of the plan. Every single plot point was put to rest. So there's no question that this happened the way it was supposed to happen. So we get our main event. And four-way number one contenders match. The winner faces Bully Ray at Slammiversary. Jeff Hardy, Magnus, Samoa Joe, and Kurt Angle. So we came back from break. And Joe and Magnus are exchanging blows. Angle cuts it off. So Magnus boots Angle and Joe tacks on the senton. Basically, he hits the boot to the face. And Joe hits the senton, tag team finish. But after that, Magnus nails Joe, and Angle brings it back to him. So Magnus gets the better of Angle. Hardy flies off the top. Magnus catches him. Catches the flying body press. And he throws him into a nice suplex. Looked awesome. So Magnus drops two elbows, makes the cover, but only gets a 2 count. Magnus applies a side headlock. Hardy's getting the crowd behind him, and he gets up to his feet, breaking free with the elbows, but Magnus pulls him down by the hair. Angle goes to the eyes of Joe on the floor, while Magnus digs the elbow into Hardy back in the ring. Magnus keeps Joe and Angle on the floor before stomping Hardy. So Joe hits Magnus with a back elbow. He hits the ropes. Magnus picks him up with the Michinoku driver, which I guess they're calling the Mag Daddy driver. Not Mac Daddy. Mag Daddy? Since he's Magnus, I guess. Okay. So Magnus drives Hardy into the corner. Hardy hits the satellite head scissors and atomic drop on Magnus before he drops him both feet into the midsection like he always does. And of course the seated drop kick while Magnus was half on the canvas, half not. So it wasn't seated, so it looked really interesting. So Hardy stops Angle, hits the twist of fate on Joe, twist of fate on Magnus. Hardy goes up top, Angle goes up to the buckles, Hardy shoves him down, Magnus crotches Hardy. This time Angle dishes out suplexes to Magnus, and the German on Joe, locks on the ankle lock on Joe. Joe's about to tap, and this time he shoves Angle off into Magnus. Hardy hits the Swanton on Joe, 1, 2, 3. And what a nice back and forth main event that really should have went a whole lot longer. And I'm telling you right now, Jeff Hardy and Bully Ray's rematch at Slammiversary is going to be awesome. So that's Impact for this week. And of course we see Joe shake Hardy's hand. And now Hardy is next in line for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. Now, here's the thing. As usual, I enjoyed Impact tonight. I did. It's a good way to get us to logical conclusions. Like, we're still continuing Bully Ray as World Heavyweight Champion and dominant heel World Heavyweight Champion. We still have more questions about Aces and Eights, but even though everything was about answered at this time, so pretty much every card is laid out on the table. But is it really? Honestly, so we'll find out what's going to happen. The TNA versus Aces and Eights storyline continues, and we find out a new X Division rules. So Kenny King gets to be the king of three-way dance for a while. And we also find out that, yes, finally we're going to get the match that we definitely don't know if it's going to be any good or not, but storyline purposes, it works. Taryn Terrell and Gail Kim is upcoming, so going to be interesting to see what happens in the next couple weeks. TNA is live next week in, I believe, Indiana, Pennsylvania? I think, possibly. I don't recall off the top of my head. So, TNA is live next week, which means they'll be live next week, and then, of course, the week after they'll be taped. So, a lot of questions to be answered, as usual. Bully Ray continues to be the dominant heel world heavyweight champion that I've always thought he deserved to be. And of course, we have Rude and Aries on a collision course with Bad Influence, which I have no problems with. And still, a lot of questions surround what's going on with AJ Styles, what kind of headspace is he in, and what kind of an impact is he going to make when he actually does something in TNA yet again. And we're going to probably see James Storm and AJ Styles somewhere down the road, and I have no problems with that because those matches are awesome. So, TNA was on all cylinders tonight. I very much enjoyed it, and look forward to next week. So, we're going to talk SmackDown tomorrow night and talk about what happens on SmackDown, and thank you guys for watching once again. And I'm going to get off here, and I'm going to have me some lunch before I go to the movies for today. Because it's movie day, it's Friday, so like I said, Olympus Has Fallen, The Croods in 3D, and Admission. And then after that, I'm going to come back here, watch SmackDown, so I can review it for you tomorrow morning before I go to work. So, until tomorrow, that's all I got to say about that.